if you can't already tell, consistency, routine, not really my thing. This is one last episode in my Dopesick Files in honor of the actual show coming out. October 13th, mark your calendars. I just wanted to do one last video kind of recapping everything because I only did those first couple videos at the very beginning of my journey with them. I continued throughout like the whole entire rest of filming. They wrapped up in May. It's now October, so yeah, my bad. I went to the wrap party and everything. It was so much fun. But this is basically gonna be a recap video of like my highlights of my experiences with them and kind of what I did. I just had so much fun, and I never went over how much fun I had and like what I did. So that's what this video is for. I don't even know where to start. Last I talked to the camera about this, it was when I was housed in a hotel in Clifton Forge in the mountains, and I was working with them for about 2 weeks. I was doing mostly stand-in work and PA work. I continued doing both of those things after Clifton Forge, but I also got into some extra roles, so I was able to be an extra and actually on camera a few times, so that was really fun. Nothing with speaking roles or anything, just kind of background stuff, but it was a blast. I got to go to costuming and hair and makeup and you know, make myself look all camera ready, and it was fun. The casting director actually asked me if I would want to be core background, if I wanted to be a member of core background, and that meant that I was basically like one of the first that they would reach out to if they needed extras on a certain day. Since we were still filming during COVID times, we still had to be tested 3 times a week or 2 times a week, but I was in that group where that was 3 times a week. So if I wasn't working, they paid me just to go get tested 3 times a week. Like, what? Yeah, I'll go get tested for you for $100. Yeah, 30 minutes out of my day, let's go. So that was really cool. I just got to get paid to get tested when I wasn't working. Then I was one of the first that they called if they needed, not called, they emailed me, but I was one of the first that they reached out to if they needed extras. I think the first time I was an extra, I remember not being happy with how they did my hair because it's set in, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure the late 90s. I should know that. Wait, let me Google it. Come on, when did it start? Okay, so obviously I should know this, but I'm definitely gonna say it was set in the 90s because I'm like 99.9% sure. Anyways, so it was set in the past. So they were doing my hair weird. They like put my bangs up and they made it all sleek. Nothing like I would ever wear my hair. And I did not like it. But, you know, it was for the scene. I was supposed to be a pharmaceutical rep. That's what it was. Okay, so I was in the office and I was, you know, whatever, we were in a meeting. Yada, yada, yada. We ended up having an office party. That was pretty fun. I got to pretend to be drinking. Was that the first time? I don't think that was, no. I was still a pharmaceutical rep, but I'm mixing up like 2 different times in my head. The very first time I was an extra, it was when they did my hair like that and I wasn't loving it. But the first time I was an extra, I think, is actually when I met Will, if I'm remembering correctly. I'm pretty sure it was my first time on camera. And that's what I had been hoping for, you know, since I even learned about the show. I was hoping to actually meet and talk to Will. And I got to that day, and that was amazing. I'm gonna insert a little clip of recording myself after that night, talking about me meeting Will, because that was just the pure excitement and joy of it happening like right in the moment, where it's not going to be the same now that it's months later and I've actually had time to process it. So here's that video. Sorry, I'm like panting and I just can't hold it together because it was so exciting, but here's that. Guys, I'm screaming. So I was an extra today on Dopesick. Yo, I finally met Will. I met Will and Philippa Sue. I sat right in front of both of them. It was ridiculous. So I turned around and I was talking to Philippa Sue. At first, I didn't recognize her because they have her wearing a wig with like bangs and stuff, and plus the mask. I didn't know who she was. And then I realized as I turned around while she had her mask off, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, I just want you to know that I am a huge Hamilton fan, and like, you're amazing, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. What's your name? And I'm like, Alexa? She's like, it's nice to meet you, Alexa. And then I turned to Will, and he's like smiling from the interaction that me and Philippa just had. And I'm like, hi, Will. And he's like, hi, how are you? I ignored that question. I said, Will, I have one question for you. And I'm like, were they ever going to make another Narnia? And he says, sadly, I don't think they were. And I was like, that breaks my heart. And then we had to go. It was over. The moment, it was all I needed. It was all I needed. I actually met both of them that day. Hello, Will Poulter and Philippa Sue. So Philippa Sue is the one that played Eliza in Hamilton for my Hamilton fans out there. She was wonderful. I got to work with her a couple times, and she was like sunshine on set. She was beautiful. She was always just super friendly and talking to like anyone, and she asked me my name, which I thought was just so kind. I don't know, I guess I've never had an experience with a celebrity where they cared enough to actually ask me what my name was. It's usually like pretty quick things like, hi, I love you, you're cool, like let's get a picture, bye kind of thing. Not usually like, oh my gosh, how's your name, how are you, like how'd you get on Dopesick, yada. So she was great. After talking with her, she kind of broke my nervousness enough so I could talk to Will, because that's what I was really nervous about talking to. So then I talked to Will and I asked him about Narnia, even though he asked me how I was, and I totally didn't answer that question. Sorry, Will. I'm good. I was really good talking to you, I promise. But Narnia. Yeah, and he told me that they probably weren't gonna make another Narnia, and that was really sad. And that was kind of where the conversation got cut off, because at that point we were finishing up, and I don't think they had to film again. But I got to talk to them because I was sitting right in front of them in that scene, so we were kind of lined up on little tables, kind of like a classroom setting actually. And I was sitting right in front of them, and so the camera was like right here a couple times. So if I'm not on screen at some point in that scene, I'm gonna be ticked, because I was right there front and center, right in front of the actor and actress that were the main attention. I better be somewhere in there. So I'm looking forward to trying to find myself there, and a couple other places, but that's probably the only obvious one. I also got to be an extra when they were having an office party. Also, Will was there. For a moment, they actually pulled me aside to be a stand-in for one of the actresses that just had a small speaking role, but she had to like be around this corner and like looking down at him sitting, and they were having this conversation. I don't even remember what about. I have the script somewhere, but I'm not gonna tell you, so it doesn't matter. So I got to be the stand-in for this girl who was gonna be talking down at Will. The camera is like setting up right here, and they tell Will, they're like, Will, can you look up at her, into her eyes, please? Heart palpitations. and I'm looking at him because that's part of the scene, and so we're just like looking deep into each other's souls, and he's like, I'm sorry I have to look at you so intensely, and I'm like, I'm not. I didn't say that, but I wish I would have. I said, no, it's fine, which it was fine. So yeah, Will and I just had a little moment. He was super nice. I got to see him a few times, and every time I just felt a little bit starstruck. Another time that I was an extra was with Rosario Dawson. I was actually scheduled to be a stand-in that day, and I did. I was a stand-in first at the first half of the day, and then in the second half of the day they were filming kind of like a little block party type vibe. That was actually really pretty, but that was where Rosario Dawson's character was getting proposed to. So that was really cute and fun. They had gotten breakdancers, and I was one of those outer circle people, you know, cheering them on, like, hey, yeah. Later I was walking around with my significant other, who was also a stand-in with me. He was fun. He had a lot of stories, because we had to walk back and forth quite a few times. And every time he had a new story, so that was fun. I probably won't be super visible in any of those scenes, I'm guessing. If anything, it's for like a split second and no one's gonna know, but I'll know. So psyched about that. But that day, I got to talk to Rosario Dawson a bit more and work with her a little bit closer, and she is a treat, okay? She's not even sunshine. She's like the disco ball. She just talks to everyone. I actually have a really great story about her. One day I was just being a stand-in, I think. Actually, no, a photo double. I was supposed to be driving for her, I think, but they didn't even end up using me that day. I had done that a couple times photo doubling in addition to standing in and being a PA and being an extra. I had multiple roles. I loved it. I loved it. So this one day we were all outside, me and my stand-in buddies, and we were chilling, waiting for things to happen because I don't even remember what they were doing. I think they were filming some cars driving around at that point. And Rosario had a chill moment where she didn't have to do anything, so she came over and was just talking to us. Me and my stand-in buddies had been talking about this one guy on set that I found really cute. His name was Brandon. He'll never watch this, so this is okay. So I was telling my stand-in buddies how I was kind of into Brandon. I was like, he's really cute, and they were trying to give me pointers on how to flirt and things and make my move, and because I'm so bad at that. It was honestly hilarious, but she joined in and she was asking me who I was talking about, and she knew exactly who I was talking about. Of course she did. And she's like, oh, matchmaker, I got you. I'm gonna go do some digging, you know, next time you come on set, he's gonna have a ring. And I'm like, okay, chill. But later, not even an hour later, I'm like going to change. She sees me and she comes over and she's like, oh my gosh, I have bad news. Bad news for you, good news for him. He has a girl. And I'm like, it's fun. Rosario Dawson just found out if my set crush had a girlfriend for me. Rosario Dawson, I'm not concerned about Brandon. This just happened. She's like, I know you don't know me, but like, this is my thing. Like, I'm really matchmaker. And so like, as soon as you told me, I was on it. Clearly. It was an hour later. Clearly she was on it. And she just thought about me like that. And so I'm definitely on her side. I like her a lot because she is actually really cool, down to earth, and fun. And tried to play matchmaker for me, so I love her. Brandon and I did have several moments, I thought, but hey, what do I know? I think that encompasses most of my highlights. There were also so many other things that happened. I can't even keep track. It was all so much fun and so amazing. Being a production assistant was honestly a dream. I know a lot of PAs don't like the work because you feel like you're not really doing much, but for me it was just being on set and being able to see everything happen around me. That was magical for me. I would love to be a PA again. Then again, Dopesick was a really good production in general to work on. I had heard from PAs that worked on other sets before say that Dopesick was really good. And I definitely believe that. They took care of their workers. I didn't feel super overworked all the time. I mean, sometimes, obviously, because that's just gonna happen on a film set. It really was a dream. I had so much fun. Oh, I didn't even tell you about the soundstage. Okay, so there's this big warehouse. They called it the soundstage, and that's where they built a lot of the sets. So obviously they go to physical places a lot and they filmed there a lot, but there were some places like the offices that they would have to film in for like days at a time, or like a house or something that they'd have to film in for days at a time, that they actually built those places in this warehouse. It was insane. Like, they had whole basically interiors of the houses inside this place. It was crazy. I'd never seen anything like it. What they did was they based it off of actual places. So for example, the Malum house that they had built was based on a house that they found in Clifton Forge, and the measurements were exactly the same. They took huge pictures and blew them up on like huge tarps. Well, they're not tarps, but I don't remember what they're called, but these huge things that they wrapped around hanging, like they wrapped around the house, so that if you're filming out a window, you're gonna see exactly what they saw filming out of the window in Clifton Forge. So it was completely based in reality, but they faked it. They faked it. And I know that film does this all the time, but seeing it in real life was so cool. There was not only an actual house, there was a whole office. So there was like the conference room. There were actually like 2 conference rooms, and then 2 offices, and they had it decked out to be set in the 90s, so all the old equipment, like the big block computers that we don't even use anymore. There was the courtroom, there was the FBI agency, there was the doctor's office, and all of this was set to look like if you walked in there, you think you're there. It's completely real. Until you look up and then you see there's no ceiling and just a bunch of lights fixtured for, you know, set lighting, which is also super cool to see. Just like amazing things like that I just got to be there for and see the magic happen. It was so cool. The first day that I was at the soundstage, I was in complete awe, and I was not supposed to take pictures or videos at all, but I definitely did. Don't tell Disney. I didn't release them or anything, okay? It's fine. They were only using like 1/3 of that warehouse for the actual set. This place was huge. In another section, I saw all the costumings. They had rows and rows and rows of costumes and just clothing, and, you know, labeled and organized in the way that they do. And there was another section where they were building just random stuff, just like things that you don't know that they are actually making just for a scene because it looks so real and realistic, but they literally made this sign that says Dr. Phoenix on it because that's his office, but Dr. Phoenix isn't real, so they had to make that. Oh, I didn't even mention, they built a whole cave. In one of my videos, I talked about how we filmed in a cave and I didn't actually get to go in, but they built a cave for the mining scenes so that they weren't actually filming in a cave. They literally built a cave. Couldn't tell you how they did it. It seemed like giant paper mache, but I know that's not what it was. But it was crazy. Just the intricacy and the design and the creativity it takes to put on this stuff is just so freaking cool. I wish I could take each one of you there and show you what they're doing and the sets and how real it all is, but how fake it actually is. It's just so cool, and I'm so excited to see the actual outcome and to watch the show, and I'm excited for you guys to see it because it's actually gonna be a really great show. I truly believe it. On one of the last nights, the director, or was it the writer? I don't know, one of them were speaking on it, and they were getting really emotional about how moving like this was actually gonna be because it's based on a true story. And I really do believe it's gonna be so good, and it's going to bring a lot of awareness to a situation that maybe not a lot of us know about. Obviously, it's so cool for me to be a part of it, but it's more than that. It's actually gonna be a good show. I could see it winning some really good awards. I really could. So I guess to wrap this all up, this is the last Dopesick Files episode that I'm gonna do, unless for some reason I thought of something that I desperately needed to add, but I can't see that happening. There's obviously so much I missed because I was working on it for a long time. I think that's where I'm gonna end it, guys. I think we've come to the conclusion of the Dopesick Files. Just want to thank my sponsors. No, I really do. I want to thank all of the Dopesick crew. Every single person I met was just incredible. I could not fit all of my positive experiences from this show into one video. Every single person was incredible. I'm just still baffled, and it still feels unreal. I need to stop. I've had months to process this and I'm still freaking out. I'm just so excited to see it. Guys, go watch it. It's gonna be on Hulu, October 13th. And then, tell me what you think. Disclaimer though, not a kid-friendly show. I don't recommend kids watching it. There is gonna be quite a bit of swearing. I think there may be a couple love scenes in there. And it's literally about drugs and drug abuse. So I wouldn't recommend watching it with your kids, but if you want to look for me really hard or learn a bit about the opioid pandemic or just watch something new, you should watch it. And comment what you think. Comment your thoughts about the show, or text me if you have my number. I don't have that big of a following yet. I'd love to talk more about it if you're curious. It was a blast. I'm gonna end this video now. I need to cut it off. I got my serotonin for the day, thinking back on it, so thanks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. I still don't know how to sign these off. So cut!